At first, this case didn't look complicated. A teenager, a short disappearance, a search that everyone believed would end quickly. But then, Emily Pike was found, and from that moment on, nothing made sense. Because what investigators discovered raised more questions than answers. Not just about how she died, but about what happened in the time no one can explain. Even now, authorities admit, this case should not be unsolved. Yet here we are. Emily Pike was 14 years old. Friends described her as quiet. Family described her as kind. Teachers described her as normal. There was nothing about Emily that suggested danger followed her. She lived in Arizona. She had a routine. She had a future people assumed would arrive. And that assumption, that nothing bad was about to happen, is the first mistake made in many true crime stories. Because the most terrifying cases don't begin with warning signs. They begin with normal days. On the day Emily disappeared, nothing felt urgent. No alarm was raised immediately. No emergency call. No sense that time was running out. She was seen. Then she wasn't. At first, people assumed the obvious. She would return. Teenagers sometimes disappear for hours, sometimes even days. But this time, Emily didn't come back. And when concern finally turned into panic, precious time had already passed. Search teams were organized. Flyers went up. Social media posts spread her face everywhere. Law enforcement canvassed areas near where she was last seen. Friends were questioned. Family was interviewed. But there was a problem investigators wouldn't say out loud yet. There was no clear trail. No confirmed direction of travel. No reliable witness account. No evidence explaining where Emily went. It was as if she had vanished between moments. When Emily Pike was finally found, the case changed forever. The discovery was not hopeful. It was not peaceful. And it was not simple. Her remains were located in a remote area. What investigators confirmed next shocked even experienced officers. This was not an accident. This was not natural. Emily had been murdered. And worse. The condition of her remains suggested something deliberate. Something controlled. Something that required time. There was one detail police struggled to explain. A detail that made the timeline fall apart, based on where Emily was found and where she was last seen. There was a gap no one could account for. Not hours. But days. Where was she during that time? Who had control of her movements? And how did no one see anything in a case this serious? Investigators never publicly answered these questions. Despite the severity of the crime, no arrests were made, no suspect was named, no person of interest officially identified. The case went quiet. For the public, this silence was disturbing. Because cases involving minors rarely fade this quickly. And when they do, people start to wonder why. Was evidence missing? Was it mishandled? Or was something being kept from the public? As weeks turned into months, online communities took over. People analyzed timelines, mapped locations, replayed statements again and again, and one question kept coming up. How does a 14-year-old disappear, remain unseen, and end up murdered? Without anyone noticing? Some believe someone local knows the truth. Others believe multiple failures allowed the crime to happen. But everyone agrees on one thing. This case is far from finished. Even now, key questions remain unanswered. Why hasn't a suspect been named? Why does the timeline remain unclear? Why was the location of her remains so difficult to explain? Investigators say the case is active, but activity does not mean progress. And for Emily Pike, justice has not yet arrived. Emily Pike was 14 years old. Her story should have ended with graduation, with adulthood, with a future. Instead, it ended with silence. Somewhere, someone knows what happened. And until that person speaks, this case remains open, not just as a police file, but as a question that refuses to go away. Who took Emily Pike, and how did they get away with it?